afternoon and welcome to the Harlan Municipal Utilities Board of Trustees meeting. Today is Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Can I get a call to the meeting to order?
I'll make such a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Sheldon, aye.
Barnett, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Can I officially vote yet?
Yes.
Okay, aye.
We don't actually need roll call on that, so.
Okay, all right, very good.
Okay, number 2, approval of the agenda, conflict of interest.
I have no conflict of interest. I'll motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, approval and roll call.
Sheldon, aye.
Barnett, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye.
The next one you will abstain from.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, approval of consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion with a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a request is made prior to the time the board votes on the motion. Consent agenda items may include non-controversial subjects.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 4, receive and file minutes of the March 4th, 2025 City Council meeting appointing Kevin Lukey to the HMU Board of Trustees, and welcome.
Thank you, looking forward to it.
Yeah. I guess I was just going to mention HMU is excited to have Kevin on board. We think it'll be a good asset and bring ideas based on your private sector experiences and your local business ownership also. Be a good fit, I think.
Thanks, Joe.
You bet.
Can I get a motion? Do we need a motion on that?
Yeah, just to
Okay.
receive and file them.
So I'll make a motion to receive and file the minutes of the City Council's meeting on March 4th.
I second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Number 5, banking resolution, resolution number 43-2024. Machine sign signature.
All those resolution numbers are wrong. They're 43-2025,
43-2025,
44-2025, and 45-2025.
and general policy number 50 and addendum.
Yeah, so basically just as updating, or I guess, or adding, so we got all the board members on there, especially with Kevin being a new board member now, so we're set up. Get that information to the bank.
Okay. Board action.
I move to approve the board resolutions by changing the resolution numbers to 43-2025, 44-2025, 45-2025, and the general policy number 50, and addendum.
Second that motion.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay. Number 6, committee assignments. Do you want me to read all those? Jenny?
You don't have to, they're basically all the same except Kevin took over for Mike's spot.
Kevin,
He felt
you're
comfortable with
taking
all those
Mike's
same
Yes, that's right.
committees.
And you feel comfortable with this?
I do, looking forward to it.
Okay. Can I get,
I'll make the motion for the committee assignment for the board members.
Second.
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay. Number 7, recommendation from Al Powers of P&E Engineering for pay app number 10 for the 2023-2024 overhead to underground conversion project in the amount of $21,706.82.
Just like the past payment app, or pay apps, just a progress payment to LFI/Burns Electric for work completed to date on our overhead to underground conversion project. Everything's going well still. We're moving right along. Should be good. I'll give an update, I guess, in my report though too, but everything's looking good as far as staying on schedule or even being done ahead of schedule. So.
And on budget as well, Joe?
Yeah, I think, have we had any
No big hiccups,
No,
no big findings. Oh, we had one,
One little change, what was that?
that was that open concentric that we found.
Yeah, we found a little bit of old open concentric that I guess didn't realize was in the ground yet. They found it when we opened up a couple of cabinets as part of the project. So that was added, that was up on Willow, wasn't it?
It was on Willow and then across the street on the west side of Highway 59.
59 too, we found some
By
old
Ridge.
concentric there.
Rolling Rain.
Yeah, Rolling Lane is where that fed that part too, so.
You're going to talk about the recent power outage as it relates to this as well?
Correct.
Remarks? Okay.
Yep.
Can I get a,
So I'll make the motion to approve the pay number 10 in the amount of $21,706.82.
I'll second.
Barnett? Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Okay, number 8, IAMU dues in the amount of $15,571 and letter.
That's the membership dues, which, through IMU, which provides HMU with access to compliance and training. Actually at a reduced cost since we're a new member. The cost in 2024 was $15,982, so we actually went down just a little. Oh, no, sorry. We went up just a little, sorry. Yeah, 15,571 to 15,982.
So, and these IAMU participation and training help us as it relates to safety and compliance, which then lead to reduced insurance. So it's an investment that has an ROI, a positive ROI.
Correct. I mean, the linemen go get certified, the gas, people in the gas department get recertified.
The gas certification is a separate fee, and so is the
Okay.
safety training.
But there is other training that's provided, I guess, that we go through, correct?
I don't know what other kind of training.
Well, I mean, we go up there, I go up for different
Right, you
training.
get discounts on that
Yeah,
training, but we
discounts on
still
it.
pay for it,
You know,
yeah.
when we go up.
Okay.
And the dues are based on our size, right?
Correct.
Oh.
Yep.
Number of meters,
Oh.
correct?
I'm sorry, say that.
Number of meters. There's a formula, I think that's, based on.
Based on the size, right?
Correct.
How much electricity we use,
Yep.
water we use.
Correct.
All that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
This is just, I believe these are the dues to be as a part of the IAMU.
Yes, correct, to be a member, have a membership in the IMU.
Can I get a,
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the dues for this year in the amount of $15,571.
I'll second.
roll call?
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Okay, number 9, receive and file the 2024-2025 budget amendment.
Yeah, and on that, I talked to Kurt too, a little bit, staff accountant, as far as maybe some of the highlights. Like I said, there was a few changes in the revenues, but some of the larger adjustments in the expenses were for power purchases, material supplies, stock, and electric, spot market gas, and health insurance. Some of that had to just be adjusted as far as what was actually spent.
So health insurance just went up just a little bit, if I remember. Jenny? Yeah, the health insurance just went up just a bit.
Well, but for this year, it's going to be recommended 0%. I'd have to look at what last year's
Okay.
was. I don't remember a year ago. I think it was 2 something, but I'm not
So
really.
yeah, I think this year where they talked that it was gonna stay
To
flat.
stay the same.
Correct.
Yeah, which is a byproduct of all the, I think, the fitness membership, the safety program, the leadership, so,
The morale.
right, the culture. So,
Mhm.
Can we get a motion to approve that?
I move that we approve the amended budget.
Second that,
Roll call?
Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Okay, number 10, post for position of a groundskeeper instead of an independent contractor.
Okay, just some background on that. We had been, I know at one point, I think we'd had summer help so much, to help with the mowing train. Kind of went away from that at one point. We were using independent contractor last, I don't know how many years. We're looking to get back to at least hiring somebody part-time. Basically looking at $20 per hour, no benefits, because we're gonna be we're estimating about 16 hours a week for the mowing. So through the mowing season, we're roughly thinking that's gonna be about $6,500 for the year or the season. Last year's cost by the contractor was $15,408. Of course, we'll have costs for gas and maintenance on the mowing equipment, but we should see an overall savings. And we should have a little more control over it too, because of the independent contractor, it's more of a contract, so it's paid per week. And as of last year, I myself went probably 3 weeks without mowing there in different times. But we were still getting, it was still paying that amount. So at least here we'll have some control over, if we have another drier year, we get more towards August, we won't have them mowing every week. It'll go back to every 2 weeks or something like that. So. And this was based on, I'd have to go back and look, that 6,500 was based on, I think, April through September, October, end of September, and doing it every week. So, there may be, if things start really slowing down in the fall, maybe less than that, so.
So it's seasonal part-time, not year-round?
Correct. And it'd be just strictly for mowing and trimming. It's not like we'll keep them around to use them for anything else. Just get that portion done.
And you got the mowing equipment and everything?
Correct, yep. We got 2 commercial mowers, old one, and then we got another one that we just recently purchased not too long ago that we're gonna replace this other mower, but we kept the other one around because probably weren't gonna get much for it for trade-in anyhow.
And plus then, we'll probably, maybe it'll be the same person that does for the city. They could switch off and.
Yeah, usually the city's got a couple guys that I think that always come back to
Do
work.
they
on
do
the
part-time?
I think.
Yeah, they're looking for part-time too. For the pool.
Seasonal.
Yeah.
Their mowing is 40 hours a week.
Oh, they're mowing is 40, okay.
But that 16 hours a week is just based on that independent contractor. They usually just had one guy, one mower, and he spent, day and a half, 2 days by the time he mowed, trimmed all the properties. Yeah.
So we got quite a savings going on again.
Well, that's what we're hoping. We'll know for sure at the end of this season, but that's just estimating hours and at that rate.
We'll probably be tired this year.
Could cut it in half, pretty much.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. Like I said, I went back and looked at all those invoices, and that's what I tallied up as far as the $15,408 is what we actually paid last year.
Can I get a motion on that?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to post for the position of groundskeeper on a seasonal temporary basis.
Second.
Roll call.
Arnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 11, receive and file the March 14th, 2025 Insurance Committee meeting minutes.
Yeah, and Jim, I guess you guys could speak to that too, but I thought it was a good meeting with the city and Brent with the agency reviewing the upcoming fiscal year coverage and cost. I think it went well, and you did a great job of explaining, I think, and answered any questions we had.
Yeah, I think watching everybody else's insurance kind of skyrocket, and the utility, talking about culture and safety and leadership, has contributed immensely to us being able to avoid any serious increase in the insurance cost for us and to the city as well.
Right.
It's a partnership.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve and receive and file the insurance committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Arnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 12, review recommendation to renew property and casualty and workers' compensation insurance with EMC.
Yeah, the Just kind of give a little background as far as the information we got from Brent. Premium from EMC this year is going to be $262,618. And then other premiums on top of that that Brent had listed or discussed is crime is $472, cyber is $11,200. We've got additional insurance on the 2 big diesel generators that we have down at the old facility. That premium's $7,480. And then what we have for flood insurance down at the old facility is $6,816. And then just as a comparison, last year's EMC portion was $225,173.
Well, everybody's insurance not only,
Yeah,
Here it
it's
is, but-
going up.
but even at that, the house insurances are all going up
Mhm.
because of all the catastrophes around, so.
Right.
And EMC's good at processing on a timely manner,
Yes, yeah, they're been good to work with.
so.
We've actually got them coming back to look at a couple, our roofs on our buildings here too. Because we kind of did when the adjuster came, he just more or less looked from the ground, didn't really think there was much, it was more cosmetic and nothing structural. They did have Lang and Construction kind of get on the roof to look, and they actually found some spots where they think it's more than cosmetic. So EMC's got a actual engineer coming out, and it's supposed to be scheduled here, I think, 1st of April, to kind of look at the buildings here and 3 buildings down at the old facility to take a closer look, just to make sure that it's not just cosmetic. But they've been good to work with. We had that wind damage on the old light plant. They were great to work with on that. I think we ended up getting most of that covered. I mean, there's going to be some costs that we had to throw in, but there was, majority that was covered by insurance.
Okay, good. Can I get a motion on that?
Yeah, so I'll make the motion to renew the property casualty workman's compensation insurance with EMC.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye.
Ricky, aye.
Michelle, aye. Okay, number 13, SPP Attachment X, credit policy of the open access transmission tariff, and authorize Joe B. Ruschenberg to sign. A, Appendix, a credit application form, and B, Appendix E, annual minimum market participation criteria, risk management certification form.
These are annual forms we sign every year for credit that we are required with in working with SPP.
I move that we give Joe permission to sign the forms. Stated.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye.
Ricky, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 14, approve Eric Rose being elected to serve on the IAMU Gas Safety Committee through 2027.
Yeah, basically this is always a good, I think, have we always had somebody on there, Colburn? Or not
As long
necessarily?
as I've worked here.
Yeah, I think we've always had somebody on there. And I always thought it's good to have a representative on there, on that committee, just to help with the decision-making and policies and procedures that we gotta abide by in the gas utility itself, so. So like I said, it's always good to have somebody on there, I think.
So what does it mean, elected to serve? Who voted? Or was he voted onto this, or he was just nominated?
Well, nominated, right, Colburn? I mean, you've been
Yeah,
dealt with that in the past.
right, because Al was on it, Alecus was on it, and then they elected to have Dar serve on it when Al got off. Then I got elected to be on it, and then Eric got elected to be on it. You're asked to be on the board.
Okay.
Like when I give them, I notice that I'm getting off the board, then they asked if Eric would be willing to be on the board.
Okay.
So,
The reason it comes to you guys is because IAMU requests that our board approve it so that they know that the board and rest of the staff is on board with them committing to that time commitment.
Okay, good. I just wanted to know if it was a congratulations.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably not well, you've been on it, it's not a huge commitment, but
No, it's, you go to a couple of meetings a year, and it's, you just go over the new policies coming out and help with the, like the O&M manual that you guys approved. You go over changes with that and, you know. The good thing is that you first know when things are coming down as opposed to.
get ahead of it.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve Mr. Eric Rose's selection to serve as the IAMU Gas Safety Committee member through 2027.
Second.
Roll call. Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Rochelle, aye. Number 15, Resolution 27-2025 to modify the electric rates for Harlan Municipal Utilities.
Yeah, and I can kind of give just a brief synopsis of it. What we came up with, we're looking at, we were trying to drive it around about a 3% reduction. So it's going to work out to just rough numbers, approximately $144,300 total reduction in revenue for a typical year. And then just looking at the residential side with the 2001 meters that we have on the residential side, it's going to be about $27 per year reduction for a typical residential customer, just as an example.
In their electric bill. So
In their
their electric, we're gonna give the residents and
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to
it's
be
gonna go down by 3%.
correct, roughly, yes.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, I know he's not here right now, but, and I wanted kudos to the gas department, but also to Kurt being able to prudently invest the ratepayers' money or the customer's money in a way that allows us to do this. When we looked at the math, our investments just in the electric department are about they're more than $240,000 a year. So this rate reduction of 3% is, if we keep going in the right direction, we bring in extra customers, we keep growing economically, we'll continue to hopefully continue to lower the rates, or at least stay below the market value.
And like I said, good thing, I think the CD rates are supposed to stay up.
They are. I mean, how
So,
many,
which is good,
how many CDs have we signed in them?
a bunch.
Yeah. And they've all gone up.
You want to speak, Joe, to sort of, I don't want to sort of cut off her nose only a year from now, sort of to understand, oh, by the way we've done something you shouldn't have done. So do you have the plans in place to fund the electric department and the upgrades that we need to have funded so that we're not short-sighting ourselves today for our future for the next, say, 5 years, huh?
Well, and I know we've got projects coming up, but I guess based on kind of what Jim said, just with the investments, we've got, well, since the CD, I mean, I suppose, what, a year and a half ago was when the interest rates went up, so we started getting really aggressive with a lot of that money that we had, taking it out of savings or even the checking end of it and putting it in CDs. So that's kind of really what's driven to where we kind of had these, where we could turn back around and try to just do this reduction,
Yep.
which then shouldn't necessarily affect our operating at all.
So, okay, that's the question.
Basically.
Yeah.
Short-term that jeopardize our future.
Correct.
That's what I don't want us to do right now.
I mean, unless we had something catastrophic happen with substations or something like that, but I mean, that's, I guess we don't necessarily got a
Can't
crystal
predict
ball.
that.
Right. But we still have, I mean, Joe and I are going to the bank about every 2 months, 3 months we're going to the
Yeah,
bank.
maybe, yeah, it just
And, I
depends.
mean, I've signed very expensive CDs,
Okay,
lots of
good,
money.
good. That's great.
Yeah, so all this was factored into the rate discussion as to whether or not we had enough risk mitigation funding to make sure. And then we also had discussions about what happens if our provider raises the rates. You know, we are not inclined to what if it. If we have the ability to lower the rates to benefit our customers, we'll lower the rates. If subsequently the market changes and we need to adjust our rates, we'll be adjusting along with everybody else. So we'll still be 3% below whatever an adjustment is. So really kudos to the team all the way around to be able to even do this in this current market as other things continue to rise. So,
Mhm.
Okay, can I get a board action on that?
yeah, I will happily make the motion to reduce to modify the electric rates in the amount of roughly 3% of reduction.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Shelton, aye?
Lukey, aye?
Michelle, aye, and way to go.
Good job, team.
Yep. Together, everyone achieves more. Okay, number 16, proposal from Van Wert to replace current Itron system in the amount of $32,215 plus annual maintenance cost of $194.36 and an annual subscription fee of $9,800.
Yeah, just to familiarize everybody with that, the Itron system is basically our equipment, handheld, other hardware as far as reading all our meters, electric, gas, water. Right now, that Itron equipment we have now is predicted to reach the end of life on that current meter reading equipment in October. If we approve this tonight, we would turn around and then get that replacement equipment will be ordered and expected to arrive in September, so we can kind of get things switched over to that new equipment and continue to be able to use that for collecting meter readings.
This was in the budget, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Can I get some possible board action on that?
A motion to approve replacement for the Itron system of roughly $42,000 a year, some associated annual subscription costs of $98.
A second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Shelton, aye?
Lukey, aye?
Michelle, aye. Number 7, Exo Group invoice in the amount of $17,805.50.
Yeah, this is basically a payment to Exo Group, who completed the inspection of our in-town 69 kV transmission line that circles Harlan, going from each, between the 4 substations. This was actually done a while back, but finally got the bill. Well, I guess we kind of finally got the bill straightened out because they did some pole inspections for the city too at the same time, down at the ball fields and parks. So we had to get them to kind of separate out, the cities from the HMUs. So basically that $17,805.50 is for HMU's portion. And I believe that is what they estimated at the beginning of the project.
I think actually their estimate was
A little bit,
19,000.
1,000. So by the time they got done, and the original bid was based on, how many poles they'd have to, they call it like a fumigation almost, or treatment for if they found any rotting, so.
So once again, we went down.
Yeah, just a little on that.
Is that something that we would do on a routine basis?
Yeah, I don't know what, probably we were a little overdue doing it this time around, but we did the transmission line between here and Avoca, was that a year before? Year and a half before?
Into the year of 22.
Yeah, same thing there, so they did that, yeah. I mean, it's something that probably should be done every 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
I'm not sure when the last one was.
Right.
So do they do the inspection, Joe, and then fix the work or the issues they have?
Right, last month, I think we had that, the one item to come in and fix, at least replace 3 poles that were,
In a field.
yeah, in a field, and they were
So
kind
that's what it
of an
is.
extreme. I mean, they said we need to get those replaced. There is some additional work that needs to be completed, which P&E will come up with a set of plans for any other maintenance work we gotta do based on that inspection, but that'll be done probably then in the fall. But yeah, that is something, they just do strictly the inspection, any treatment of the poles, and then they do the recommendation if we gotta do any updates, replacement.
And we just
That will have to
ordered,
hire separately.
we just ordered poles too, right? After the last meeting.
That was the emergency poles that are in the
Yeah.
fields.
Yep,
That are in the field.
yeah, it was 3.
I move that we approve the Exo Group invoice in the amount of $17,805.50.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye?
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 18, proposals for certified welder on deep well submitted by Coboy in the amount of $350 an hour.
Yeah, and original McClure engineering design plans did not require a certified welder to weld the sections of casings together for the deep well when it was constructed. Donald and I kind of talked and thought it best to have a certified welder on site, especially due to the depth of that well. You know, we're looking at 317 feet of casing put together. Obviously, the casing is a critical part of the well. The contractor's estimating anywhere from 12 to 15 hours on site for the welder. So that'll amount to about $4,200 to $5,200 additional cost, which we think is a small fraction of the total cost of that well. I mean, that deep well, we're looking at about 1.3, 1.5 million just for that well. So I guess we're wanting to make sure we got kind of a good base for that as far as making sure those welds are good on that casing.
And we don't want, yes, because that's a, like you said, deep and expensive well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, we're just asking, I guess, as far as being able to utilize that. Like I said, we'll have the final number of hours at that $350 per hour once that actually is completed.
We get possible board action on that?
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve the $350 per hour up to a certain amount for a deep well, for a certified welder in support of the deep well installation.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye?
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Are you approving that with a certain dollar amount or just whatever's needed?
Whatever's
Is
needed.
that what, okay.
Yeah, within reason, I guess. But Mike, are you going to speak to the deep well in your remarks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 19, proposal for acidizing of 4 wells. Proposals were given by Cohoy and Lane Christensen in the amount of $37,850 and $56,464 respectively.
Yeah, and we've done this, I think, several times here now, trying to, every year, trying to get, 3-4 wells to where we could acidize them and try to get, it's just ongoing maintenance costs to keep the existing wells producing at the highest level we can. Like I said, that iron and manganese starts plugging up the screens on those existing wells, so you get them acidized and try to get, you're never gonna get 100% of that flow back again, but at least we're getting them back to where they're producing the highest amount that we can out of them.
So we started with what, 13 or 14 of these, and we've progressively moved through, so have we?
We have done several, yeah, I think we got 21 wells, we keep cycling the ones to keep go through and try to stay on to them. When we got as many wells as I do, it takes, 4 or 5 years to get through them.
And are we talking the difference either or?
No, we're only approving one.
Yeah, and I'd say, there's no reason to not go with Gahoy at the low of the 37,850, because they've been doing the last, I think they,
Last couple of weeks, 20.
yeah, they've done the last 20 for us, we haven't had any issues.
I move that we approve the low bid from Cohoy for the proposals for acidizing of the 4 wells. Of $37,850. $37,850.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Sheldon, aye?
Lukey, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 20, steel roof bids for South Pole Building at 405 Chatburn Avenue facility. 2 bids were received as follows. Lining construction and total contracting in the amount of $26,034.81 and $16,613.50 respectfully.
Yeah, plans were sent to, we tried keeping it local, so we sent them to 4 local contractors. These 2 submitted. Recommendation is to award the total contracting But we had mentioned at the last board meeting, just allow us to go out and try to get bids on that. Basically, the roof on that South Pole building, which we use for storage. Christmas lights, or Christmas stuff's in there for uptown also, that's stored in there. It's got 4 skylights in it, which with hail and everything, and you know, it's leaking. A lot of the old nails are leaking. The metal itself, all the paint's pretty much off the metal on that roof. I don't know what year that was built. It's an old Harlan Builders building. So the thought process is to go back in, and it's got a different distance between the ridges on that. It's older steel. So it'd be hard to even go in and try to just replace the skylights and cover those with steel. Because like I said, the ridges wouldn't match with the steel that's produced now. So the thought process is that we would just replace that total roof. And then we should be getting another 25, 30 years out of it.
So this is not an insurance claim, this is just regular upkeep and maintenance?
Correct.
And it's in the budget, or it was in the budget?
Yeah, we did budget for it. We kind of got a number, I can't remember, one of the local contractors gave us an idea. I think we budgeted 25,000. So that would be quite a bit under that.
This is just for the roof, it's not for some of the doors or the side of the building?
No, just the roof only. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, all these bids that keep coming in under our estimate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good to see. Like I said, I'm glad we got 2, that at least we had something compared to.
Are you putting the skylight back in it, or are you just
No,
replacing
we'll just,
the-
yeah, it'll just be a solid roof. We won't put skylights back in it.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So could we get possible board action on that?
Yeah, so I'll make the motion to accept the bid from Total Contracting in the amount of $16,613.50 for the replacement of the roof at the South Pole building on 405 Chapel.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye?
Shelton,
Ricky, aye.
Michelle, aye. Number 21. It's been a while since we've had them up this far. Information only, fuel bids going out and will be due in April. B. McClure invoices in the amount of $9,897.08 and $6,826.25.
Yeah, on A, their bids will be sent to Farm Service Co-op, Agriland FS, and Taylor Quick Pick. There's usually 3, I think, that we send it to when that comes up. Currently, we're using Agriland FS. And under B, the McClure invoices, the first one is a November invoice, I guess, that we never did get, and we finally got that. And then the other one is a February invoice, which is for the ongoing engineering costs with the raw water system improvements project.
Okay. Number 22, the CEO's report.
Yeah, I've got several items. First, just update on the overhead to underground conversion project. Contractor was gone for a few days helping Mid-American Energy with that recent storm damage. Did return this week. They continue to work on setting equipment, pulling wire, and connecting new services. We've had really good luck with them. I mean, they're really good about letting us know where they're gonna have some outages when they're connecting in new services, so they always give us a heads up on that, which is great. So everything's going good with that project. Next thing is the raw water system improvements project. DNR approved the new site Tuesday for the new location on well 35. You know, we're talking, they're abandoning that hole that they were working on last fall and moving to another site just north of that in the same well field area. Approximately 75 feet north of that hole to be abandoned. With news of the site approval, the contractor may work on abandonment of the existing borehole while waiting on repairs of the air compressor. So they've got some equipment they're trying to work on before they get back in here. So, I don't know, I keep saying, I hope in a couple weeks we're drilling, but it just all depends on now we got DNR approval, that new site. It's kind of up to them to get their rest of the repairs done on their equipment and get back in here, so.
So are they competing against themselves? So they're doing the acidization and they're doing the deep well, the same company?
It is the same company, but they went out to two different bidding process, excuse me.
It'd be two different crews, I mean,
Yes, different
yeah,
ones.
they use a different truck, different crew when they do the acidization as compared to who would do the boring.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that company knows what's our priority.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, they're not the same people working on it.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, they've always been low on acidizing. I mean, we've always gotten another bid from Lane Christensen, but Cohoy's always lower on the acidization, so.
Our priority is the deep well, right?
Correct.
Priorities to have water.
Yeah.
Also, then Jim had mentioned too about this last power outage. HMU would like to thank our customers for their patience during the outage last week from the winter storm. Loss of power was due to down transmission and or equipment failure of our power supplier. So power was not getting to town to our substation. Northwest Iowa Cooperative, NIPCO, did help us out, temporary routed power supply to our system until Mid-American Energy completed their repairs, who is our normal supplier where we get our power from along our transmission from Avoca. HMU's distribution system, I feel, is very resilient and only suffered very minimal damage, but was still functional through the whole process, except for a couple fuses that blew, which only affected 2 customers. So basically, I think we were out roughly 3 hours, and we started, once we got power coming into town, we started to slowly power back up our substations themselves, and we had everybody up hardly within about 4 hours. We had everybody pretty much back on at that point, so.
I know that, like, the electricity came on, and then slow, then all of a sudden, then we have the internet or Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Oh, and now the heater works, because the heater runs off of Wi-Fi, so it was
I
like,
mean, I guess we're lucky
it
the
was
fact,
fantastic.
we're lucky the fact it wasn't colder than it was. I mean, it was cold enough, but still.
Exactly.
I mean, like, I think at home, I think we lost maybe, Amy said she maybe lost 4 or 5 degrees.
Yeah, we
You know, it
did.
wasn't bad at all, so I mean, it was good that the temperatures are at least where they were.
I think
Could've
we
been a
got
lot
down to
worse.
64, we were at 65 and we got down to 64.
Mm-hmm.
We only lost a degree in the 3 hours or whatever.
I think the key there is that things happen outside of our control.
Correct.
And what we were responsible for was a resilient, adaptable, flexible electric distribution system that worked. So, to your question earlier about whether or not cutting the rates was going to adversely affect resiliency and requirements, that was factored in as
Yeah.
well. So, and I think the proof was in the pudding when others are still recovering
Yeah,
from
yeah,
that.
you said some Omaha OPPD still got.
Yes, they still
customers.
have some out in Fremont and Arlington.
Yeah, big, huge thank you, Joe, to the team, right? You guys
Yeah.
did just an outstanding job. The other thing I noticed is the communication was excellent using the what is it, the Smart 911.
Yeah,
How you guys had linked in there. We were getting updates that way quite regularly, so well done on communicating to the public.
yeah,
as
what's it
well.
called again?
Alert Iowa.
Alert Iowa, yeah.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yes, I mean, the push is, I mean, if more people can get on that, I mean, the better off you are, because like I said, then you get those alerts. Yeah, it works great.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you don't have electricity, you can't get on the internet, can't go to Facebook, can't do all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff, right? And so, anyway,
And we had KNOD without, so they couldn't
Yeah.
relate. But the Alert Iowa, we have to remember you need to update that every 6 months, I believe.
Okay.
So the, customers need to make sure.
Make sure
Because
that's-
I've been trying, myself, I've been trying to get other people, neighbors on that Alert Iowa.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it comes
think
through
it's
email, cell phone, landline.
It was even, well, I guess the first we were kind of introduced to it was when we had the gas leak.
yeah,
Right.
Too,
Right.
it was kind of when we first got introduced to it, and it seemed like, yeah, it's a pretty nice tool to have. Next item, Chris Krackemeyer, over in the water department, obtained his grade 2 water treatment license just recently.
Congratulations.
And then lastly, I've got quite a few anniversaries. I guess that must have been, March must have been the month. Joey Perea, 2 years. Kurt Zimmerman, 2 years. Dalton Fredericks, 3. Todd Higley, 3 years. Shannon Miller, 3 years. Dylan Zorns, 2 years. And Jamie Petchy, 3 years. So,
Nice.
Congratulations.
yeah, that's all I have, I guess, unless there's questions for me.
Number 23, possible closed section. The board may enter into closed session in accordance with Iowa Code Section 21.51A to review or discuss records which are required or authorized by state or federal law to be kept confidential. Iowa law authorizes certain cities' utility records to be kept confidential, including trade secrets which are recognized and protected as such by law. See Iowa Code Section 22.73. In addition, Iowa law provides that notwithstanding Section 21.5 subsection 1, the governing body of a city utility may hold a closed session to discuss marketing and pricing strategies or proprietary information if its competitive position would be harmed by public disclosure not required of potential or actual competitors, and if no public purpose would be served by such disclosure. See Iowa Code Section 388.91.
I move that we move to closed session.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
No, you're not having it out here. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, roll. Barnett, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Ricky, aye.
Michelle, aye. Thank you, guys.